This unique center goes back to a visionary by the name of Alex Osborne. It's a familiar name to some, but what is more familiar to people is what he created, which is the thinking tool called brainstorming. The inventor of brainstorming was from Buffalo. He wrote a book called Applied Imagination. What he believed, which I still firmly believe is true today, is that creative thinking and creative problem solving and using your imagination is an essential workplace skill. And his quest, if you will, his vision, he was an advertising man, he came out of business, was to have an impact on education, because he felt education often robbed, it took away, or it undermined, or it shackled, it limited imagination. And that when you get into the workplace, to be successful, you need to take on difficult problems, you need to be able to drive change, to be flexible, to deal with ambiguous situations. And so he felt, we need to do something to improve education, so that as students go through the educational process, their imagination is fostered rather than undermined. And so when he retired from business, he was able to start this center. The sad part of the story is he died the same year that this program began. In '67, it moved to Buffalo State College. At that time, the founder, Sid Carnes, and co-founder Ruth Noller began an experimental study to see, can you teach creativity? Because the prevailing wisdom was, you have it or you don't. It's a gift from the gods. And so these two pioneers tackled that question. And they did an experimental study where they had students here at this campus, Buffalo State, which is part of the State University of New York system. It's the largest college within the State University of New York system. They had students enroll in a series of courses in creativity, and they had a control group. So they had the classic experimental group versus a control group. Did a battery of tests, cognitive abilities, looked at problem-solving skills. And at the end of it, after 2 years, they found that there were statistically mathematical differences when you looked at these measures between those who went through the creative studies classes and those who did not. It was that success that established this as a permanent department at Buffalo State College. Mid-'70s, the graduate program was founded. It was the first Master of Science degree in creativity in the world. And it's a Master of Science because we believe there's a science to creativity, not to make it too stiff, but and not to drive the imagination out. But we do study creativity. We take a social sciences approach to trying to understand, how do you really develop creativity. What are tools that you can give people, and then can we measure the effectiveness of those tools? So fast forward to today, now in 2009, it's been 40 some years since the program was started. Our graduate program has grown. When it began, we had 2 faculty members and a handful of students, like 2, 3, 4 students. Today we have 80 graduate students enrolled in courses here. About half of those students take our courses from a distance, so we have an on-campus program. And 10 years ago we started a distance learning program. Well, because our vision is to ignite creativity around the world. That's our vision. The subtext to that is to help as many people as we can recognize that creativity is an essential life skill. So we're still very much living out Osborne's vision of bringing creativity into education. But beyond what Osborne and some others saw the need, especially in business, we broadened a little bit and said, creativity really is an essential life skill, because in relationships, in parenting, and just dealing with life's complexities, one needs to be a creative problem solver. My personal story, I took my first creativity class in 1981, so several decades ago, almost 3 decades ago, as a community college student. I had a professor who taught a creativity class, and he said, "Oh, you would really enjoy this," and he talked me into taking the class, and I fell in love with the subject area because honestly, I was not the most creative thinker in the world. And when I took the course, it gave me some very powerful skills that helped me to grow and transform as a person. Because in my own educational experience, I had never had anyone give me insights into the power that I have as a creative person and the value that has for me in my life in terms of all the things that I do in relationships and just dealing with life's challenges that come at us. So I began 1981, came to Buffalo State afterwards, did the master's degree program here, so I'm a graduate of the program. Went away to University of Manchester in England to do a Ph.D. in organizational creativity, I should say organizational psychology. I was interested in looking at how organizations either develop or undermine creativity in their structures and how leadership impacts and the environment that is established in an organization. So I did my PhD thesis focused on creativity within organizations. And then in 1990, job opened up here in Buffalo. I came back to take an assistant professor's position, and now about 10 years ago I became the chair of the department.